We are now 51 days away from January 1st, when Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani will be sworn into office. Yesterday, Mamdani unveiled his first top City Hall appointments. Deal Fluhan as the first deputy mayor and El Biscart Church as his chief of staff. And in the coming days, Mamdani will be making more appointments from deputy mayors to commissioners. To help him through this transition period, Mamdani handpicked an all-female leadership team, including many veterans of City Hall, and that includes my guest, Bonilla, a former Bloomberg administration official who is now the chief of the United Way of New York City, a poverty-fighting nonprofit. Welcome to the program, Grace.
Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate your time. I know it has been busy. You just got finished with election night, Somos, and now you're here with us. When the Mamdani team first reached out to you about potentially serving on the transition, what were your initial thoughts? Were you open to the idea? Were you receptive? I mean, you're obviously here now. What were those conversations like?
No, I mean, I think that as someone who has served the city for so long, whenever a mayor calls and asks you to line up for service, it's very hard to say no. It's an exciting time. And I think that when you see someone who's been elected with such a mandate, if you can be at the table to make sure that New Yorkers get what they need, it's hard to say no. So I'm very happy to be there.
You bring significant City Hall experience. So you've worked in the Bloomberg and de Blasio administrations and helped with the Adams transition as well.
That's correct.
So much was made during the campaign period about Zohran Mamdani, his experience, lack of experience. What have you noticed so far in the approach that he's taken to this transition compared to some of the other mayors you've worked with in the past?
Sure. Having worked with this team the last couple of weeks, I think that it's wonderful to see how inclusive they are. They're open to the suggestions that me and my fellow co-chairs have for the administration that's incoming, and I think that's how he's going to lead. He wants to hear from people, but at the end of the day, he is the mayor and he's going to make his choice, but he wants to be as informed as possible. So to me, having worked with many mayors, I think that's a good sign. It's a good sign for New Yorkers that he's decisive, but he's also open to hearing other people's points of view.
Has the mayor-elect outlined a couple of top priorities for his transition team so far?
It's not that different from the campaign. I mean, public safety is still a top priority. Child care is a top priority. Obviously, for us, it's informing him of our experience so that he's making the right choice as far as the people that will lead in that transition and in his priorities. So we're using the blueprint that we've had for the campaign.
And on a practical level, what does this transition look like? Are you in meetings all day? How often do you meet? How many more people do you think will be added to the transition team? We know you are, one of the leaders, but how many people overall do you expect will take part in this process?
It definitely takes more than 4 co-chairs to get this done. We are currently working on identifying the right people for the subcommittees beneath the co-chairs that will be making a lot of decisions, poring over the ideas, giving us recommendations in their subject matter expertise. So a lot of that is going on. And since the beginning, names of the best and the brightest are definitely something that we're also reviewing.
Yeah, speaking of names of the best and the brightest, I want to talk about this online portal that the transition team has opened. So you're essentially encouraging New Yorkers, if you want to work for the Mamdani administration, to send in your resumes. Are people sending them in? Are you going to be looking through them? What is this process like, and why take that approach?
Well, people are definitely sending them in. In the first 24 hours, I think we had 25,000 resumes.
Wow.
Yes, and I think it goes along with the excitement that New Yorkers feel at the new era that is coming in as of January 1st. Are we looking at them? Absolutely. I think that this mayor and his team want to hear from New Yorkers and are excited about the people that want to work for this administration. So part of what his team is doing is poring over every single resume, so please apply. And what we're doing as subject matter experts is really making sure that the policies that he wants to implement are feasible and pragmatic with the guardrails that he has around him.
And how are you thinking of, there are obviously clearly people who already work in City Hall, who work in the current administration, but you're also asking for resumes. What's your message to folks who already work in City Hall and perhaps may want to stay? What will that process look like?
Well, I have definitely been in that position, and the work of the city continues. And I know that the people that are there because they want to serve New Yorkers, and that will continue. As far as decisions of what the administration would look like in the future, that is what we're in the middle of working on. So no decisions have been made, but all of that is being analyzed at a really fast speed.
As a part of the transition leadership team, have you had any conversations about President Donald Trump and what happens if he does make good on some of his threats and promises to withhold federal funding to New York City if Mamdani were to become mayor, which we now know is going to happen in a few weeks.
That's right. Well, I think that we're looking at it from the lens of what is the type of talent that he needs in the event that these things take place.
Okay.
We know that funding is one of the things that the president has threatened the city with, and among other things. We want to make sure that the talent that is there on day one is ready to respond to any threat coming from D.C.
So much of your personal experience has focused on poverty, housing, access to services. How do you bring that experience, that knowledge to this administration? And are there any particular areas that you're really excited to dig in and work on?
Most of my career has been spent in serving the most vulnerable New Yorkers. As a girl from Queens who has experienced her own level of economic insecurity, this is very personal to me. It's one of the reasons that at United Way of New York City, we handle and work with so many of the pantries that have been under so much pressure in the last few weeks because of the shutdown. So for me, it's bringing those stories to this transition to make sure that we are listening to New Yorkers that may not have the seat that I have at the table. So yes, it is very personal. I know that 56% of New Yorkers that cannot make ends meet are waiting for this administration to start.
Zohran Mamdani campaigned on an ambitious, progressive agenda. How are you bridging this gap now between campaign promises and the realities of governing?
Well, the realities of government also have a lot to do with our budget. And one of the things that we are looking at are what is possible within our budget. Are we funding what we believe in? And if we're not, how can we shift? It's part of making sure that we're at the table, advising this mayor and setting him up for success. So there are going to be some difficult decisions that need to be made. I think he's ready for the moment.
Do you anticipate all major appointments will be made by January 1st, or do you think a few may come once we're actually into the administration?
Well, we are certainly working on the most critical ones to happen before January 1st, and the majority to happen before January 1st. Some of them may trickle into past January 1st for sure.
Okay, any insight on any announcements that might be coming up soon, or?
I think we should all tune in. It's going to be very exciting.
Okay. Has there been any communication yet with current City Hall staffers on the logistics of working out this transition?
Well, as someone who's been part of other transitions, the communication with City Hall happens almost immediately.
Okay.
I know that collegial moment is taking place, and I'm happy to see that on both sides, we're putting the needs of the city at the center of that communication.
There's been a lot of speculation that the Mamdani administration could look a lot like the de Blasio administration. Do you see it that way? And what are some of the similarities perhaps that you see and maybe some key differences?
Sure. I mean, I think that it's really clear that in the de Blasio administration, pre-K for all was one of the priorities. This mayor is taking it a step further. He is really looking at what do we do with kids from 0 to 5. That is absolutely, if you want, an evolution of the de Blasio administration. Will it look exactly the same? I don't think so. This is a very different mayor. He leads in a very different way, and the expertise that he needs at the table to be successful, it's different. It's a different time, and the challenges are very different.
Okay, Grace, thank you so much for joining us. I know this is a busy time as you're working on this transition and working with the United Way of New York City as well, so we really appreciate you being with us this evening.